God, kebab, or, okay, that's great.
Kebab or sharab.
Okay.
So yeah, we're looking to do an Indian restaurant.
Well, not yet. No, we're not ready yet.
Oh, okay.
We don't even have a quorum. It's just
have a quorum yet.
We're just 4 of us, but only 2. We need 3 more committee members, and then we can. And we don't start until 6:30.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, people take umbrage when we start.
Not early, right? They're like, don't start early.
You know,
And
as an
you're welcome
Indian
to
person,
stay.
I'm usually late, but I'm glad that I'm the early one right now. I'm
Then
usually
after
always
that, we've
late.
got the Office of Cannabis Management presenting, and that should be interesting. And then after that, we've got the Columbus Avenue Open Streets bid. The bid is presenting, so it's going to be a very interesting, really interesting agenda tonight. You're welcome to stay.
Well, that'll be awesome. Yes. I mean, we love the neighborhood. We just recently opened up on 81 in Amsterdam, and you know, the neighbors have shown us a lot of love over here.
81 in Amsterdam? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, wow. WAU.
I love wow. I mean, let me say
Thank
something.
you.
Well,
wow is a wow.
Wow.
Thank you. Yes.
But that's more of the.
So yeah, we just opened up in
Southeast-
September
Southeast
of
Asian
last year.
cuisine. It's more Southeast Asian, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's Southeast Asian. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I wrote a best-selling Thai cookbook in the 80s.
No way.
Yeah, I did, because
You got to
there was
teach me some things.
I doubt if I can teach you anything, but
Well,
there
it's
was
always
a-
good to learn.
I had a dear friend who owned a restaurant called The Left Bank, where now Jake's Dilemma is, and she was from Bangkok. And
Oh, nice.
anyway, so I taught her guitar, she taught me cooking, and we ended up writing a cookbook that sold 30,000 copies. Go figure.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
well, it was
really
the first.
cool.
What's it called?
What's the name?
What's it
It's
called?
called Janie Bhatanapan's Thai Cookbook with Linda Alexander. It's by Crown. It's been off, when Random House bought Crown, they had their own Thai cookbook. So, but every so often you buy them because it never went into remainder. And what happened was, because it was the first Thai cookbook for Western kitchens, all these cooking schools bought them.
Right.
So you
Oh,
can
wow.
get them every so often, and
Wow, that's
I go to Barnes and Noble and some other, old book sites and get them, then sign them, and they're all full of food and everything, and give them to friends.
nice.
Well, that's nice. Okay, I will request a copy from you when you have a chance.
You have to look it up. No. I'll send you some recipes.
Okay,
So,
great.
we are recording and we're also live streaming already.
Oh, good. Okay. Hi, Doug. Hi.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Received your
Hello,
email
Doug.
about being prompt. I am prompt, I think.
You're the best. Thank you so much. You're even early. The sign of a great businessman.
Well,
You're-
thank you. I'm not prompt. Maybe I'm penultimate. I'm not. I'm all.
You're early, and you'll always be the ultimate to me. So there's no.
I want to be fashionably late. You know what I mean? If I too early, I'm seen too anxious for things. I can't be on time. No, I'm just kidding.
I am. They say I'm OCD, and then we're going to hear from OCM. But I am compulsively early to everything. So.
Mr. Mita, I wanted to ask you, are you the owner, manager?
Yeah, I'll be the chef and the owner over there as well.
Yeah,
for
okay.
this place.
Of where are we talking?
Number
This
2.
is for Kebab and Sharab on 247 West 72nd.
This is
247.
exciting.
What is there now?
So I think it used to be my most favorite is food before.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a nice
my
space.
most favorite food. It's like a bakery restaurant. I looked it up. It looks like it's been there since at least 2011.
Yeah, it's a kosher operation. That's right.
Okay.
It's on the
Yes.
north side of the 72nd. Right. I know it well.
But
Yes.
no liquor license. I didn't find a liquor license for that location at all. So
Are you the attorney?
I'm the attorney. Yeah.
Okay. And you okay, got it. Okay.
So this is Kathleen Negri Stathopoulos.
It's good. You're getting better at it every
See,
time.
Anderson is put in the Q&A.
Yeah, I'm answering, yeah.
He's from the Upper West Side Coalition. Yes, of course, he should be able to speak later. Yeah.
And he was going to be complaining about the open streets.
let's say commenting. We'll see.
No, he's already complaining. I've gotten another email.
Where is the open street going to be?
Well, we've got one on the, every Sunday on 90, between 96th and 110th, and we'll have now, and that's already started. And then we've got open streets on, we'll have open streets on Sundays, starting mid-May between 68th and 77th Streets on Columbus Avenue.
And just for Sunday?
Yeah. And then they're just for the retail and restaurants, they do this, it's only for the retail and restaurants on the avenue,
Right, that's nice.
on the respective avenues. I think Peter's got them on the Columbus-Amsterdam bid, has them on Amsterdam and Columbus avenues. Hey, Josh.
Hi.
Hi, and this one, and then the one on the southern part of the district will only be on Columbus Avenue. It's a smaller one. But it's already controversial.
Is Andrew joining today, or do we?
Yeah, Andrew's taking minutes because Erana was supposed to take minutes, but she's not going to be here, nor is Madelyn.
Interesting.
Fisher will be here. I don't have a phone number for Anthony Thomas.
Well,
Andrew will be here. I saw him the other day.
We've got to remedy that. But I got on the horn and still finished 3 press releases today. Baby.
Linda's Steve Anderson commented, and you might want to make a little amends there.
What?
Steve Anderson wrote in the Q&A.
Okay.
Okay.
But because I communicate for a living, I'm pretty good at identifying things. Pascal Bernard, over there.
Mr. Bernard is here. Yeah.
Oh, you're going to be with us for the Office of Cannabis Management. So lovely to meet you, and we are so curious as to the criteria, and congratulations.
Except that Pascal, I know that's not Pascal because I've spoken with her.
Okay, I just realized that my name looks like Pascal Bernard, and it's not. My name is Phil Rumsey, actually. I'm also from the Office of Cannabis Management. Perhaps I should re-log in, I suppose.
You don't have to re-log in. What you can do is you can, if you'll see 3 dots on the top, you can actually rename it yourself.
Okay.
Even easier.
And
Hello,
just to
Andrew Rigie.
And just to be-
Hey, hello, everyone.
Hello, Anthony, I don't have your phone number. Anthony Thomas, I don't have your phone number. I don't have your contact. So, dude, after this, shoot it over to me, would you?
Of course.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, I want to call the meeting to order. It's 6:30. We have a quorum.
We have a quorum.
But we are lucky with some of the applicants. So let's start with Kathleen.
Okay, great. Thank you.
247 West 72nd Street.
Yes, it's a restaurant by the name of Thank You God LLC, doing business as Kebab or Sharab. I have Sunil Mehta, who's the owner of the restaurant, with me tonight. We're looking for a full liquor license here. I believe the hours, and Sunil, if anything is wrong, you can correct me. I believe the hours are every day of the week from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. There's background music only. And this is a unlicensed restaurant right now. It was my most favorite food bakery there since at least 2011, does not appear to have had a liquor license. The plans show 18 tables indoors, 2 seats, so 36 seats altogether, the 2-seaters, and 12 stools. So I can let Sunil talk a little about the menu, what he's planning on doing there.
Sure. So we'll be specializing in Northern Indian kebabs, which I feel like is a big void. And, you know, Indian food has had a recent renaissance thanks to our friends at Dhamaka and Ronnie and Chintan. So I feel like we wanted to showcase the different regional kebabs from northern India. And, whenever we eat kebabs back home, there's a tradition of pairing it with like whiskeys and bourbons, and, they kind of go hand in hand. And we just wanted to, enhance that experience and give it to the Upper West Side at this point, which I love.
And I think Salil has another restaurant. I actually tell them a little bit about your experience.
Oh yeah, so we just recently opened up last year in September, 81 in Amsterdam by the name of Wow. Neighborhood's been really supportive of us. It's been really great. We didn't know what to expect coming in here, but we love it. So we want to have more presence on the Upper West Side now.
Right next to Jake's. That place is busy all the time.
It's
Thank
terrific.
you.
Wow
It
is a
is.
wow.
What is the
Always
cuisine
busy.
on Indian first? It's not Indian, is it?
No.
No, at Wow we do Southeast Asian, so it's Indonesian, Malaysian with a mix of a little bit of Thai.
A little bit of Thai.
And
You have a very big celebrity. You have a celebrity clientele. I won't say it
it's
publicly.
been great. We've
Quite a bit
had
celebrity.
sorry. So
again,
our cocktail program was really well received by the neighborhood.
It's really
which
good.
surprised me. Like there's a lot of bourbon drinkers up here. I'd love to see that because I'm one myself. And so we decided to go for a little bit more of an expanded program on 72nd.
Great. I'm sorry.
Before we
do
continue,
we have any questions about the hours of operation, et
Yes.
cetera? I think you just told us.
I know, but before we continue, anybody that wants to speak, raise the digital hand to be recognized. That way, that applies to all the attendees and hopefully to the panelists also. So proceed with that.
Apparently, your bird has a lot of things to say.
Yes, I know. It has a lot to say.
I'm not gonna take that personally, I guess.
Well, we're not cooking those birds.
Are you cooking birds? I don't know. You're serving birds.
I have parrots.
Do you have any other questions from the public, or should we be putting everybody on the panel that's here tonight? Christian, and Doug.
Oh, sorry, I just wanted to go in order here. What are the hours of operation? I don't have the MOO in front of me.
It's 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. 7 days a week.
Okay.
Do we
Any
have any
music?
on the public?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I didn't, will there be music or anything like that? Or is it
Just background.
Background music.
Only
Okay, so
background music.
it's going to be comparable to the operation at WOW, which has not gotten anything but accolades instead. So that's a lovely thing.
Thank God for that.
And ergo the name of the restaurant.
Yes. No, yeah, up here, like our concept doesn't call for that late night, but with the kebabs and everything. So my people like to eat late. They show up when we're about to close the kitchen. So we want to accommodate them as well. And, also try to bring in that industry crowd as well. Because, once the restaurants and everything close around us, there's, besides the tiki bar up the street from us, there's nowhere that the industry people can even go and hang out. So hopefully we can create a space that kind of complements the industry as well as, the neighborhood.
Okay, do we have any other questions? Anybody from the public want to speak? I'm gonna look at our participants. Maybe they want to. We've got Mr. Anderson and Ms. Brown here.
No one has raised their hand, so let's
Okay,
go, let's go
call
for
the
a vote.
question.
All those in favor, committee members? So I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I am 6. Paul? Let's go. Okay.
Where's Paul? Oh, there he is.
I think you should include the parrot, because I think he was voting.
Not a member,
Okay.
be a public member.
So committee members, that's 7000. Non-committee members,
And we've got Mark and Roberta.
and Sima.
And Seema, hi. And hi there, Nicole.
Hold on, let me lower those hands first. Okay, so non-committee members, all those in favor? Well, I see 3, so that vote is 3000. Okay. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. And
Thank you.
We're excited. Sorry, I'm busy
Congratulations and good
taking
luck.
minutes, so I didn't get to say,
Thank you, Andrew.
excited.
Yeah,
You still haven't been to WOW yet, so I'm gonna hold you accountable on that.
you got it.
yeah.
All
I haven't
thank
either.
you
I'm
so
looking
much,
forward
guys.
to
I
it.
appreciate
Thank you,
it.
guys. Have a
Thank
good
All
night.
right.
And
Thank
hello,
you.
Colleen
Let's do the best.
Chattergun. Hello. And Nicole Painter.
Thank you,
Welcome.
guys. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you for having us attend your meeting this evening. I
Boy.
look forward to coming to your restaurant.
Thank you so much.
We're so happy you're here. Okay, next
Okay.
we've got 100 Riverside Drive, because we jumped over them. So Andy, I see Andy Kim's here.
Yes,
Right.
hi, this is Andy Kim.
Hi there.
Andy, are you the owner?
Yes, I'm the owner.
Okay, great.
It's
Wait, what?
actually, I don't know why, but it's actually 100 Riverside Boulevard, not 100
Ah.
Riverside Drive.
Okay, so we will fix it then. 100 Riverside Boulevard.
Okay. So we'll fix that. And what are your hours of operation, sir?
So our hours are gonna be Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 10, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday will be 3 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Okay. Wow. Wait, Monday through Friday, you're 5 to 10, and then on the weekends, you're 3 to 9?
Yeah, because this area that where we are in,
Mm-hmm.
on weekends it's really quiet, and we open 3 p.m. and it gets really quiet, so we don't intend to open later than probably 9 p.m. And also this is going to be private members only, so we don't intend to keep the hours for long hours.
Oh, it's private members only. Can you tell us something about this?
Yeah, so I don't know if my attorney's here with me here or not, but so I've been here on the boulevard since early 2001, and I belong to a company called Nest Seekers Real Estate Company.
We know them well.
Yeah. So from here at 100 Riverside Boulevard, on the other side of the section, we have real estate office. So when I first started living here at 220 Riverside Boulevard back 20 years ago, you know, there was really nothing here at that time. And being a realtor for so many years, I was able to help to have a wine bar down the block by VSV. And also there's a blue cafe that opened up, and there's a lot of marts opening up and whatnot. But because we've been here for so long, because I've been here for so long, that I thought that having a private membership for the boulevard will definitely help to, it's for service for the community. And also, you know, my intention is to get to know the members in the area a little bit more by offering something that's unique. And that's really one of the reasons why we decided to go with the private and members only, because we wanted to control who comes in and who comes out, because it's really not a big space. So we just want to offer something to our clients that will become our members, or anyone that might be interested in becoming a member here on the boulevard. So it would be very, you know, small community, local membership lounge that we wanted to create.
So what will be your criteria for membership? Will it be like the University Club? Will it be like National Arts Club?
Well, we're still trying to determine, but I think the first, foremost important, we want them to be our client for real estate. And that's, you know, because that's who we are. We're a real estate office here next to it. So we want the members to be our client who that we've been servicing. I mean, we do have a lot of clients, but we want to be able to select, you know, who to be member, and we're still trying to create what type of incentive that we can create for our members.
I'm so not comfortable with this. Anybody ever else have a comment? Doug?
Yeah, full disclosure, I'm also in real estate. And then I handled some properties over there. And I remember that part of the zoning on Riverside Boulevard is for not-for-profit community use. I don't know if you're within that.
Yeah, we are applying for non-for-profit, and right now we're in the process of setting up the entity through the attorney that we hired. Correct.
Okay, so
If
this
you're
would
asking for the liquor license before the 501c3.
Sorry?
You're asking for a liquor license before the 501c3 nonprofit.
As far as my understanding, when Terrence Flynn that we hired to be the attorney for our liquor license and said that, yeah, we are in the process of doing it, so we could apply, while we're doing the whole thing together. That's according to him. That's what he told us.
Roberta? You have your hand up?
I do. So I'm curious, what is your criterion for membership? And is there a membership fee, or someone, if you were the broker for someone, you automatically get a membership, or how does that work?
Well, we're still in the process of selecting and a process of coming up with the full membership criteria. But we are anticipating that our members will be our clients in our net seekers office.
Just the spoons.
He just filled them up today.
Everybody can mute when you're not talking. Josh?
Seema?
I don't know. I feel a little uncomfortable authorizing or approving of this without actually understanding the criteria for membership.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like we're taking a leap of faith without actually having very much information. If you could sort of tell us or come back to us at a certain point with your actual criteria, I think it would be a lot easier for us to react to that.
Actually, if that is the case, it's probably best if I then finish up the criteria and what our plans to what membership that we're going to have. I mean, we don't have it fully jot down, so I don't want to speak too early and then and change things around. So I'd rather have it complete before I actually present it, because the fact that I've been here on the Boulevard for so long, and one of the things that we came up with this idea was to first offer something that I think that a lot of residency in this location was talking about, and we did get a lot of good feedback by having a members only to be able to offer them. Obviously, to have it, we need a liquor to do that too. So, and we also wanted to monitor, and at some point given time, we thought about, should we just open to the public? But then, it's a very targeted area, so we don't want to create something that we're not really intent to open to the whole public. So we change things around, and I think it's definitely helpful to for our members that we're going to organize, but. We are in a process of creating that guidelines of who could be our members, but yet we don't have it complete yet. So I mean, perhaps that I could finish that and have another meeting that will make you guys feel more comfortable of what our intention is.
Mr. Kim, Anthony
the minutes.
Thomas.
Linda, can I just ask one question for the minutes? So it's essentially somewhat of an extension of Net Seekers. It's going to be a private membership bar, and you have yet to determine what the membership criteria will be, and you're in the process of applying for your 501c3 not-for-profit status?
Yeah,
that's correct.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Anthony, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to second like Seema's comments. I agree as well, Andy. It'd be really helpful to kind of get a better sense of how you're thinking about this. But in addition to that, just curious if you know the answer to this yet or not. Like, as a member, am I just coming to get a free drink? Are you selling drinks? Like, what's the?
Yeah, we intend to sell drinks.
Okay.
But as far as members, we're not, there's membership fees that we'll probably include, and we're trying to structure in a way that it's non-for-profit. So we're trying to create a system that will work for the process. So I think I do know the answer, but I'd rather complete that work with you when we have everything all jotted down.
Yeah, I think that's it. Doug, you have your hand up again, and then maybe we'll wrap this up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say to Mr. Kim, I appreciate you coming here, being very transparent. I think you have very good intentions. I am also uncomfortable, and I think I maybe could be made comfortable. But one of the things, I'm uncomfortable that your attorney's not here, because I think that that could put you at a disadvantage. Maybe there's some things that we could gather from the attorney. The other thing is that, yes, being that the designation on Riverside Boulevard is for community, use, a private club to me is antithetical to community use. So I have a question about it. I'm not making a judgment just yet. You've got a Department of State license there with your real estate firm, and you are applying for another state license, and how that all intermingles. So anyway, I'm reserving any judgment without prejudice. And I think it would be, I believe it would be better for you to come back more prepared next time.
I think because it's an active application, and Roberta, you're probably, and Mark, you're here, so you can help me with this as parliamentarians. But I think we're going to have to, we're going to have to reject it. I think it's just a little precipitous because you haven't got your 501c3. You don't know what your criteria are yet. You haven't really done that. And we're certainly welcoming you back here because it's very interesting. I go to the University Club and the Harmony Club and all the time because they have criteria. You have to have gone to a certain school. Okay, so I get that.
Okay, Mark.
So there was something that was raised just in the last conversation there that I didn't catch the first time around, and my bad for not catching it. Apparently this is zoned for community facility, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so you really, so the committee's position is absolutely correct. For that reason alone, we really need to hear from your lawyer how this club conforms to the idea of a community facility as opposed to a commercial overlay.
He hasn't got his EIN yet, so it's my suggestion is that we can't just table it, unfortunately. I think we have to reject it without prejudice. Am I correct, Mark and Roberta?
You can have a motion to table. There's no reason not to.
Let's have a motion to table.
Just table it.
Okay, so we're going to table this. Okay.
Yes, well, we have to take all in favor to table in the resolution. So that's 1, 2, 3. I am 4. Linda is 5. Okay, let me try again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with me. Paul, are you? What's your vote on this? Okay, also in favor 7. So the motion to table is passes from the committee 7000. Non-committee members.
Not sure you need us, but
I didn't think we did.
We always need you.
You got to lower the hands first.
Yeah, I did. Okay, so non-committee members, that's 1, 2, and 3. Thank you. That's 3000. So we are tabling the motion to next. Next month will be fine,
yes.
Mr. Kim?
Yes.
Okay, so we table it to next month.
Okay.
So sorry, in the minutes, so I should just say it's tabled to a motion to table.
You can say a motion was made to table the resolution for next month.
Got it.
Take the vote. Yeah.
Okay, moving right along. We have
Christian, when you table a motion, it doesn't. There's no time period to pick it back up. You guys pick it back up whenever there's a motion. Right. You need a motion to reopen. It is so.
Whenever Mr. Kim has his ducks in a row, then he'll come back for it. Okay.
Will do. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Before we continue, I just want to make sure that we just to announce. We forgot to announce. We made a decision. That we're going to move the item for the Columbus Avenue, the presentation to be the last item on the agenda tonight. We're going to have the discussion of the Office of Cannabis Management first.
This is till tomorrow when the new ones come.
Okay, so next we have also Christian. I think it's a committee meeting. We can bring all of the, we can bring all the participants and the attendees up. I don't see any reason.
I've reserved judgment on that one just yet.
Okay.
For now, is anybody here present for 2 West 69th Street? I don't recognize anyone for that application here.
Okay.
Okay. We may have to. What about anybody for 49 Columbus Avenue?
Ashoka.
Okay. Okay, so I guess we have to take a vote to disapprove without prejudice.
Yeah, disapprove without prejudice. All in favor?
Okay. All those in favor, and this applies to both 3 and 4. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The motion passes. That vote passes 7-0-0-0. And let me look with the hands. Okay, non-committee members. That's 1, 2, 2 in favor of disapproving those two resolutions without prejudice. It's, let me look with those hands. Roberta, is your vote abstaining or no?
I think she stepped away.
Okay, so that will be the 0-0-0.
Okay, moving
okay.
right along.
So I say it was last 0-0-0-0. What'd you say?
It's 2-0-0-0 and 7-0-0-0.
7000 board members and committee members and non-committee members 2000. Okay. Moving right along. We have a presentation. Pascal Bernard, Philip Rumsey from the Office of Cannabis Management. What do we need? Do you need to share screen? Do we need to make you a host? Talk to us.
Yeah, well, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, if you could make us, give us the ability to.
Yeah, you should have the ability to share the screen now. Now, are you Pascal Bernard?
I am.
Okay, good. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, does Phil have the same ability to?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll just introduce ourselves quickly. My name is Pascal Bernard. I'm Deputy Director for Intergovernmental Affairs at the Office of Cannabis Management.
Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Philip Rumsey. I'm the Manager of Intergovernmental Outreach at the Office of Cannabis Management.
I just want to say we had Ms. Bernard and I had a nice conversation with Max, our district manager, in anticipation of this meeting. I just wanted to say that we had a very brief cursory meeting, so we're really looking forward to your presentation. I just really wanted to make an extra welcome. I think a lot of people here at the community board, in this committee, and in the community in general have a lot of questions. There's a lot of confusion, and I hope that you can help clarify a bunch of things. Thank you again for being here.
Totally our pleasure. Phil, can you
not share screen? Are you able to share screen? Okay, let's go.
So as he's doing that, I just want to level set. Tends to be how I operate. We are a new agency. Cannabis has been legal in the state of New York for about a year. The office is about 6 months old with staff. We have a chair. We have board members, we have our executive director, and we're building it as we're flying it. So I'm going to let you know that there will be some questions you will ask. The answer is we don't know yet, or the regs are being written. And so I do ask for grace because I can't answer what I don't know. So we'll get started. And if you can just please hold your questions for the end, because sometimes the next slide actually answers the question or it can generate more questions. So we'll just get started. So as you know, again, cannabis is legal in the state of New York. And when we talk about, what is the plant, I think cannabis is one of the most misunderstood plants. It can be used for medical, industrial, or food purposes, and has been used for those purposes for thousands of years. It is also for wellness, recreational, medical, and pharmaceutical. Next slide, please. And we've also shared these slides with your community board, so I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time on them. So as I said, it's been about a year. So March 31st, 2021 was when the MRTA was signed into law, and it created the Office of Cannabis Management. We have a board of 5 members, the Cannabis Control Board. It is led by Tremaine Wright, and it legalized adult recreational cannabis use, and it expanded the existing medical cannabis program that we have. But more importantly, the the law is really steeped in a public health perspective. And so that is our North Star. And so looking at it from a public health perspective, also taking into account public safety, social justice, and economic development. And so the social justice and economic justice part of it is when the law was passed, it expunged automatically records for people who had previous marijuana convictions, and it set a goal of awarding 50% of the adult use licenses to social and economic equity applicants, and reinvesting 40% of the revenues into the from the adult use tax towards rebuilding communities that were really disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs and heavy policing. And so the adult use cannabis taxation, and this part gets a little wonky, and we're not going to spend a whole bunch of time on here, but you have the slide, you can certainly look at it. So the higher the THC, the higher the tax in it. What the tax is right now, we don't fully know. And so we do know that there is a 9% state excise tax on sales of cannabis products by a retailer to a cannabis consumer. And of that, 4% will go to local excise tax from the retail. So 25 to the county, 75 to the city, town, or village. And so 4% of local excise tax will go towards that. And for medical cannabis, medical cannabis will continue to be subject to a 7% excise tax. And so 22.5% of the monies will be transferred to the counties in which the medical cannabis was manufactured, and 22.5% shall be transferred to the counties in which the medical cannabis was dispensed. And all the revenues, 40% will go towards education. And this is really important. Education encompasses, and we'll see this in further slides, it encompasses, talking about, responsible use of cannabis. It also, encompasses talking to young people about not using cannabis at a young age because of brain development. 40% of the revenues will go towards community grant reinvestment funds. And again, these will be focused on communities that were disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs when cannabis was prohibited here in the state. And 20% will go towards drug treatment and public education fund. And so we have several licenses. We have 9 types of licenses. And a lot of people like to talk about the retail dispensary license. I like to call that the sexy license, but certainly there are a whole bunch of other licenses, and we need people to apply for licenses in all these areas. So you see cultivation, nursery, processing, distributor, dispensary, delivery, on-site consumption, adult use, co-ops, and micro businesses. But these are the 9 licenses. And there are also other opportunities around cannabis. There are ancillary businesses that will thrive, that need to come online so that they can support the cannabis industry. And so you see all of these businesses here. And so we, as both our chair, Tremaine Wright, and our executive director, Chris Alexander, like to say, we want to create a healthy ecosystem so that the business can thrive here in New York State and can build generational wealth. So our medical cannabis program, and a lot of people didn't even realize we have a medical cannabis program, but it was established in 2014, part of the Compassionate Care Act. And so it was administered by the Department of Health. Now all of that has shifted and is now under the Office of Cannabis Management. And the law really expands the program and eases access, removes some barriers. And so that includes expanding the eligibility conditions to include certified by a practitioner, expanding the practitioners who can write a script for cannabis, allowing the sales of whole flowers of medical cannabis and permanently waiving the fee for patients. And we have our cannabinoid hemp program. And so with this, we've had hemp farmers here in New York State for a number of years. And the program, again, was started under the Department of Health with the MRTA, was moved over to OCM, and the Cannabis Control Board formally launched the program May 3rd, finalizing all the November 3rd, finalizing regulations. And you can see in the slide all that the cannabinoid hemp program encompasses. Okay, adult use recreational cultivator license. We're very excited about this. It happened this year, and both Phil and I were at the agency when this happened, so we were there for it. But on February 22nd, 2022, Governor Hochul signed into law S 8084, and it establishes a pathway for existing New York hemp farmers to apply for conditional license to grow cannabis for the forthcoming adult use market. And so what this means is seeds will go into the ground this spring. We're really excited about this and are looking forward to what will come from this program. And in order to be eligible for this program, as you can see, you'd have to have been in our hemp program for up to 2 years. And so those were the people either outdoor grow or greenhouse grow. And so those are the people that were eligible to apply for this program. And we needed this to happen because, again, in order to have sales, we need to have product. And so this brings us closer. And the conditional license, cannabis farmers, they have to also meet certain criteria. And you can see some of the criteria listed. And conditional adult use recreational dispensary. So on March 10th of this year, the Cannabis Control Board passed a resolution number 2022-04, and it establishes a framework for conditional adult use recreational dispensaries to open. And so first we did the provisional licenses for the growers, and now the dispensaries, the conditional license for the dispensaries. And so this was, again, this March, it was as last month, and we have the regs out and it is open for comment. So people should definitely go onto our website and take a look at that. As I said previously, the MRTA really centers a public health perspective on this. Previously, people were purchasing cannabis from the illicit market, but as we saw with the actor Michael Williams, you don't know what it's laced with. And so really New Yorkers, the safety of New Yorkers were at risk. And so MRTA, again, puts it from a public health perspective. And so the law ensures that, people understand it is adult use only, 21 and over. And these products will be tested robustly at laboratories, and the packaging cannot be something that appeals to children and youth. And so we've heard stories of people packaging things to make it look like Skittles. That is not okay. That is actually against the law. So it is important that everybody understands that. It requires warning labels, and advertisement, billboards and things like that are banned under this law. And as with other regulated drugs, right? So 500 feet of schools and playgrounds, there's no advertising within 500 feet of that. And so that's really important. And I know you guys were talking earlier and people were coming before you for liquor licenses. So it's similar to that. On April 4th, OCM, we launched the first phase of our public health campaign. We're really excited about this. And the campaign is both in English and in Spanish, given that those are the languages most spoken in New York. And, you know, the campaign again focuses on adult use. It focuses on educating New Yorkers about the dangers of driving under the influence of cannabis, the importance of storing your cannabis in safe spaces so that children and pets can't get into it, and also that it is not legal everywhere. So if smoking, that is. So if you are somewhere where smoking is prohibited, cigarette smoking is prohibited, you are also not able to smoke cannabis there. And so if you live in a building, in a non-smoking building, that would apply. And also, you know, the dangers of pregnant and breastfeeding people using cannabis while they're doing that. And the MRTA is also steeped in safety, specifically traffic safety. And so the state will increase the number of drug recognition experts, which are police officers who go through a very rigorous training to use field testing techniques to see if a driver is driving under the influence or not. And it's very important that people do not drive under the influence. And as discussed in our previous slide, our public health campaign really focuses on that. And there'll be more campaigns focusing in on that because we really want everybody to be safe. And so also if you are a passenger in the car, you cannot be smoking cannabis. Next slide, please. And this I know, when Doug and Max and I spoke, we talked a little about this, which is gifting. And so the best way to put this is there is no loophole in the law. I know people try to be creative, but there is no loophole in the law. Gifting is illegal, it is illicit. And both our chair and our executive director have been really clear about this. And so for those of you who may not know what this phenomenon is, a store can be selling stickers and they charge you $75 and they gift you some cannabis. Or an organization can say to be a member, you have to pay $1,000 fee and you get cannabis as a gift throughout your membership. So all of this is illicit. There are no legal sales of non-medicated cannabis here in New York State as of yet. People should not be participating in any gifting. And so where are we right now? So we did a cannabis conversation statewide tour where we spoke to New Yorkers, upstate, downstate, middle of the state, about OCM and cannabis. We have the draft regulations that are in the process of being drafted. Our executive director and chair have said that, you know, we will have those regulations out sometime this spring. We also are building collaborations with organizations and other agencies across the state to make sure that the social and economic impact plan that we're working on is really comprehensive, and applications are happening, particularly with the provisional growing and soon with the conditional retail. And also, you know, some regs have been put out, and that is an opportunity for the public to respond to what we've put together and to have their voices heard. And so we definitely encourage people, again, to go onto our website, look at the regulations, and to make comments. And if you have any questions or need anything, you can get in touch with me or you can get in touch with Phil. And now we are happy to answer whatever questions may come.
Okay, I'm sure we have a lot. Again, thank you so much, Pascal and Phil. And as somebody who who got through college and got an education thanks to marijuana. I'm very, very thrilled with this process. And I think there's a lot of information here. So I want to be on your board.
I want to make an announcement. I attempted to promote everybody to be a panelist. It worked for a few, it didn't work for the most of them. But anybody that wishes to ask a question, just raise your digital hand and you will be recognized.
Nobody has any comments?
Okay, well, thank you so much for the invite.
We've got comments. Don't leave. Here we go.
Okay, Mark.
Where do we start?
Mark, go ahead.
Okay.
Thanks. Our board passed a resolution some time ago in response to the proliferation of tobacco products that had flavorings in them that were designed, or at least had the effect of being appealing to children. I understood that your presentation spoke to certain aspects of ensuring that people under 21 are not able to gain access to the product, but I didn't hear flavor as one of them. I'm wondering if you can speak to where we are with that, or is that something that can be a part, excuse me, of future regulations or rulemaking?
So yes, that is something that may be addressed in the regs. And I say maybe simply because I'm not drafting the regulations. That's a different department. So I can't really say what is and isn't in there. But we also do know that there will be people using cannabis in food products, right? So like cookies and brownies and things like that. So it's not quite clear which way it's going to go as it relates to regulations. But again, though, making this attractive for children is not something that is part of the MRTA, and it is something that the office will be monitoring. And we do have an enforcement department. Our enforcement department continues to bring on staff so that they can address all of these issues that are coming up. And so that's not a clean answer. And I know that, and I can see the disappointment in your face, but Mark, that's the reality is that people are going to be able to put this again in cookies and brownies, but not for sale at a facility that does not have a license. In order to sell any of these things, you need to have a license. And so if you do not have a license and you're selling them, then our enforcement unit will be in touch.
Pascal, I'm just going to, there's no way to discern if somebody legally buys a product, marijuana or hashish. There's no way to legally discern whether they're going to cook with it or whatever. And so it is a problem. I guess the way people cook with wine.
I have to say, working at the DOE at the suspensions office, we do get children suspended for sharing cannabis infused products at the schools.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And one quick question, we're going to call everybody. Are the dispensaries going to be coming to the community boards before they open, as the restaurants do with their liquor license applications?
As we've said in other spaces, the liquor license process is a guide for, how the cannabis process will most likely work.
Okay. Thank you.
I would add.
Oh, yeah. Phil, go on, Phil.
I would add that in the legislation in MRTA itself, it does describe needing to inform local municipalities when a retail dispensary is being applied for, and community boards will be involved with that notification process of the 30 days. So you will be informed when someone is bringing a license to the board. And anything after that, as far as additional involvement, I think it would be wise and best to wait for the regs to come out so we can give more specific and clarifying answers to direct involvement by the boards.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to Anthony.
Oh, I'm sorry. And one more thing, this is going back to Mark. There are gummy infused cannabis, gummies infused with cannabis, again, for adult recreational use. There are gummies infused with CBD. And so all of those are legal under MRTA, but again, for adult recreational use. I know I'm giving you more things to, to give you agita, but.
Okay, let's move along with our committee members. We'll start Anthony, then Andrew, and then Doug. Oh, and
Great.
then Josh. Okay, let's do it.
Pascal, thanks for being here, and Philip as well. Just a quick question, and I know this may be a bit too early, but I'm just curious, as the regs are being drafted, and specifically around like retail dispensaries, but also perhaps all of the other licenses you offer, what, if any, demographic information are you considering along where these places are going to be open in specific neighborhoods, et cetera? Because I do think that's an important point that I want to raise, right? Like if we look at existing other, liquor stores or other things and where they end up getting placed in certain neighborhoods, it's pretty disproportionate. And so I'm just really curious to hear about how demographics are being taken into consideration.
So the MRTA also lays out, as we discussed in some of the slides, social and equity applicants, and is looking at this from a social justice lens. And so that is something that, we're not trying to oversaturate one community over another. And both our executive director, Chris Alexander, as well as our chair, Tremaine Wright, have been really clear that we want to create a healthy ecosystem. And so there's going to be lots of thought and consideration in, where things are. So it's not, so all that to say that we are very cognizant, and we want to, again, make sure that we are not, creating more problems in certain communities versus others. And also, I will say just overall, and I typically say this when we talk about what we're doing at OCM, we have some of the best and brightest minds that New York State can offer across the agency. And one of the things that we've done is we've looked at the other states that have gone before us, and we've learned from their missteps. And so we're trying not to create those missteps. We're going to have our own missteps, and that's part of the learning process and the growth process. But we really have looked at what other states have done and are not trying to recreate those steps. And so, that's why we're centering public health, we're centering social and economic justice and safety.
I also wanted to add to that. I think I saw on one of the slides that you have similar restrictions as with the SLA in terms of like 500 feet from a school or a. Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on. Andrew, then Doug, then Josh.
Yes, thanks for the presentation. So my question goes back to your reference with gifting. And it just creates an interesting situation where many of the initial applications are going to be going to those who have been, disproportionately impacted by the laws. Often they were criminalized due to the laws. So now there's, they're everywhere. You can buy now. So is there any discussion of what the enforcement of the unlicensed dispensaries is going to look like? And then a follow-up to that would be, aren't we then just criminalizing people again, just under a legal framework? So one, obviously, if you don't address the unauthorized sale, it undermines the whole legalization framework of dispensaries. And then two, what happens to people that are selling without a permit? Because in a sense, they're then becoming criminalized, which is what the initial changes in the law sought to undo, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So gifting is happening across the state in all sorts of communities. communities such as the Upper West Side and communities such as the South Bronx. Gifting is happening everywhere. And so we are dealing with it effectively, I believe. We send out cease and desist letters and we let them know this is illicit, because we'd like to go in on, you know, and educate people. And so we're not going to assume that people are doing this because they're trying to, you know, find a imaginary loophole. And so we go in and we educate. We send a letter letting them know this is not legal, it is illicit. Cease and desist. If you do not, you risk, you know, you jeopardize getting a license. And so we do that. If they do not, then we have other enforcement methods that our enforcement team uses. Additionally, you know, we have, and we'll put it in the chat, we have an enforcement email that people can contact us and let us know if someone is gifting. And our enforcement team, they use investigatory methods to decide, not decide, but to look into the claim of gifting and to see that to see if it is really gifting. Because what we also don't want to do is to get a complaint that someone is gifting, and they may not be, and it could be a prospective competitor that's trying to, you know, create some difficulty for somebody. So we actually do take this very seriously. Our enforcement team really investigates and then they reach out. Again, initially it is, you know, as an educational tool, letting people know, hey, this is not what the law is intended for, please cease and desist. And if they don't, then we have other tools in our toolkit. We're like MacGyver, you know? We have other tools in our toolkit to kind of go after people.
With some of those tools involve fining people?
I'm sorry?
With one of those methods of enforcement be fines. Fines
are wonderful tools, are they not?
Yeah. They are.
One thing I would,
well, it's fascinating. I mean, watching it, just, you know, comparing it to, you know, liquor license establishments and how this is all going to evolve will be very interesting. I've watched it closely just because now, you know, you operate a legal bar, they really crack down, but I understand the focus on education and, you know, education, compliance first, and I guess enforcement as a, you know, last result. But it's a new, interesting. Anyway, sorry, Philip, go ahead. But it's
okay.
I just wanted to add one point here real quick is the second part of your question discussing the crackdown and how it, you know, might look like things in the Rockefeller era or something. The distinction here is that gifting is a MRTA-based creation, or I should say a MRTA-based interpretation, right? People thought that gifting was some sort of loophole in MRTA. So when we crack down on gifting, we're cracking down on a new law, MRTA, and behavior that's out of line with the law. So it's not so much, you know, similar to, you know, the Rockefeller era laws or something being re-implemented. It's individuals who are misinterpreting MRTA specifically. And the crackdown is necessary in order for the entire industry to really take foot and move forward successfully. So I would just make that distinction with your question, that we're cracking down on a misinterpretation of the current law. We're not bringing back any of the more oppressive laws that have been removed now.
Got it. Yeah, it's more just an interesting assessment. As you know, you'll have a legal dispensary, and then if you have a smoke shop right next door that's selling it illegally, how is that going to be dealt with? You know, and I understand at first it's going to be focused on education and compliance and everything, but, you know, in a more long term, you know, if I had a bar and a liquor license and then someone just opened a unauthorized speakeasy right next to me, I know it would happen. You know, is the same thing going to happen to these spots? Because it would seem essential to keep the integrity of the license and the legalization.
I will also say, in addition to the integrity of the license and the legalization, it's also, you know, the health and safety of New Yorkers. and people who may travel into New York to use, and engage in using adult recreational cannabis. It is really important that these products are properly tested by a third-party lab. And so when you go into a space that is licensed, you know what you are getting. When you go into these other spaces, you do not know what you're getting. And again, we continue to build our enforcement team. And I have full faith that our enforcement team will be able to address these issues.
Yeah, just like when someone opens up a
Andy.
restaurant in their apartment and then the health department goes and shuts them down.
They've
Thank
done
you.
it. Okay, let's go to Doug, then Josh, and then I see Mr. Schroeder had his hands up before too. So first Doug, then Josh.
So again, thank you, Pascal and Philip. Pascal, we had a conversation about this, so I'm going to say this sort of more for public record. I mean, obviously the question is, we're here on a community board meeting, and the question is, to what involvement is the community board and the community going to be involved in approving or not? I understand the regs have not been released yet, and that's going to be something that we eagerly await. You mentioned the 30-day notice. The 30-day notice, I think, is a good thing, but as it relates to liquor licenses, wine and beer, for example, we do not review those here at the community board, and off-premise licenses such as liquor stores also does not go through the community board process. So I hope that as certain illicit businesses are circumventing, that New York State is not going to circumvent the community board and the community. I think it's important that we have a say, and hopefully an open mind too. So I just wanted to say that we look forward to hearing exactly the level of the community board involvement and understanding all the rules, so we can be, what I always like to say, the smartest people in the room. So that was more of a statement than a question. The other, just sort of tagging on to what Andrew was saying, and we've spoke about this. Obviously, if anyone opens their eyes in New York and all over the state, there are many illicit businesses happening in full sight. There are, they are illuminated. There's the Empire Club. I can call out quite a number of them, and they are operating all the time. So I have to imagine, since this entire approval of cannabis in New York State is predicated on the ecosystem, that there has to be enforcement, because if they are illegally competing, even they may be selling cannabis that's not from New York State. All right, it all has to stay within New York State. So I am very concerned about the enforcement piece. I am aware, and this is just Doug talking. I'm very frustrated that there are people in our neighborhood that have been opening stores and they're calling themselves a dispensary. They are not licensed. They are selling cannabis. I know this for a fact. Here now, I know at least 3 or 4 stores in this district that I can go in and purchase. I have not, and I will not, but it's happening. And it's very frustrating, because I know many applicants that have been getting their ducks in a row, doing everything right. And these people are going, like, they rather ask for forgiveness than permission. And I find it very objectionable. So if these applicants come to us here, I'm not going to forget what they were doing in our neighborhood before they were duly licensed. I'm personally not going to. I know it. So going to be a no vote from this guy. But
Doug, do you think you could send Pascal the addresses of the places where you see?
So I actually just put in I don't see a chat option. I see
we don't have one anymore.
Okay, I just see the Q&A. So I just put in the link to our enforcement announcement. I'm going to put the email address that people should send all that information to, because that really is the best way to alert us. And it could be that we already have this information, but I would prefer that we get it again in the event that we don't have it. So I've just put it in answers to whatever questions. So if you look at the if you look under the answers,
the Q&A, right?
Yeah, you'll see.
Thank you.
So just Just to follow up to what I want to say, I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is the rumor going around that the first 100 provisional licenses for the social equity are going to be issued first, and approximately 40 are going to be in New York City, and of the 100 in New York State. And what a lot of people are wondering, is it going to be on parallel tracks with the non-social equity applicants, or is it going to be consecutive? Those applicants first get theirs, followed by applicants that are the non-social equity, or do we not know that yet? That's
so thank you for those numbers. I will tell you that we don't know those numbers. So this is the first we're hearing about numbers. So thanks, Doug. Appreciate that. As it relates to the licenses, yes, for the dispensaries, the first licenses are going to the social equity applicants. And then, when we issue the regulations and we will open it up for other dispensary licenses.
Thank you, Pascal. Next, Josh Cohen.
I'm going to pass because Doug stole most of my thunder, so next person can go.
Okay. We have one more here. Oops, I didn't mean to put my hand up. We have one more. This is Jacob Schroeder. Mr. Schroeder.
Hi, thank you very much for the presentation, and it's nice to be connected to everybody. With respect to the enforcement actions that you've discussed taking against operators of stores, is there thought to including the landlords of those locations in the enforcement action, or making it so that if a landlord knowingly leases to an unlicensed cannabis dispensary, then that location would no longer be allowed to be leased by a licensed applicant? Because real estate, I think, will be a key component to the licensed market. And it would be, I think, one way to try to give individuals and entities that are trying to do things the right way a little more parity.
So I don't know if that is part of the consideration. And just because I don't know does not mean that it isn't. Again, that is another department that is writing the regs. And to some extent, there's a bit of a firewall, right? So that they can do their work without the pressure of us kind of hanging over their shoulders. But what we will do is we will take that recommendation back, which is typically what we do. When we get wonderful nuggets like that one, we take it back. When we get wonderful questions, we take it back so that it can, so our colleagues can start to really think through what the questions are and what the recommendations are, and see if it's allowable by state law and other things. And so we can do that. But again, I can't say specifically if that is a consideration or not. And again, that does not mean that it is or it isn't. It just means that, our team, we don't know, because again, we're not the ones drafting the regs.
Thank you very much. And thank you.
We're going to go to one more question. We have one more hand up, Steve Anderson, then we're going to wrap up this conversation and let these folks who have spent so much time with us go back to their lives. And thank you again. So Steve Anderson, you're on. Please unmute.
Well, good evening, everyone. I am Steve Anderson from the West 81st Street Block Association, and I serve as the chair of the Upper West Side Coalition of Block Associations. And I was here to talk about the Columbus Avenue open street, but I've heard first about a private club for real estate people that's going to be nonprofit and sell booze. And now I'm hearing about dope being sold, weed being sold in the community in that discussion. So what I would ask of you is this: which block on the Upper West Side wants to be the one to have one of these stores? Which block is going to be selected? Who's going to select that block? What is the engagement of block associations and residents about the siting of this? Is the community board going to decide which streets?
We asked that question, Steve.
Yeah, no, I understand. So how is please, Linda, let me finish. So how is the state going to engage on these particular issues if it's not going to be the community board? If you ask people to raise their hands in our community, very few, I think, will indicate yes, let's have one of those on my block. So how do we go forward is the question, in a way that is responsible and exercises fairness, because it's not only a store to serve the community, it's a store that will serve many other people who will come to the community. And that raises alarms at a time when there are already many alarms. So I ask you to consider these issues, and I thank you for allowing me to comment.
So thank you for your question, Steve. I will say that MRTA is legal. So adult recreational use in New York State is legal. I'm going to put in a picture of what a dispensary looks like in Massachusetts. I think a lot of times it's a link to a picture. A lot of times people have in their heads what they think a dispensary looks like, but then when you actually see it, it's not quite what you think it will look like. So there is that. Also, as I've said before, both our chair, Tremaine Wright, and our executive director, Chris Alexander, are very clear that they want a healthy, and all of the staff at OCM, we want a healthy ecosystem. And so we're not trying to oversaturate any community. We're not trying to oversaturate the market. We've seen that happen in California, and it just was not a healthy ecosystem for the business. And so we're not trying to do that. We are trying to, again, we've seen what other states have done. We're learning from their mistakes, and we're trying to create something that is holistic. So it's not going to be a massive influx of licenses all at once. You know, we're going to give some licenses, take a look and see how it's going, making sure that we're not oversaturating, making sure that we have enough product from New York growers. And then, you know, we'll continue to grow the business. And as we're growing, we're going to learn lessons. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's all going to be peaches and cream. It's not. We're going to have to learn lessons. And that's with anything and everything. And this is a new industry. But what I can tell you is my chair, my executive director, my colleagues at OCM, we live here too. I live in Harlem, 132nd Street between 7th and 8th. I understand oversaturation of a community. We are going to make sure that we do this right because we live here. We have families in the state as well. And we know people who have businesses in the state. We want this to be well for all of us. And I
appreciate your professionalism, and you've got a tough job, and I appreciate that. But do understand that blocks are concerned that they're blocked, and that they want to be participants in the decision on siting.
I understand that. I'm on a block, and I'm a homeowner on my block, so I get it. I have a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old. I fully understand. And I'm telling you, we want what's best for New York. We want New Yorkers to be able to engage in recreational cannabis use and to be safe. We want our children to be safe. So we're really moving in a very methodical way and taking everything in. And this is a concern. We will bring it back, but I can assure you that we're not trying to, we're really not trying to oversaturate. We're not trying to leave anybody out of the process. We do take all of this information back and share it with our colleagues.
Thank you, Pascal. We are wrapping this conversation up, okay? I'm sorry, Anthony, you've already spoken. So Pete, this is it. You're the last person to speak, Peter, because you're the executive director of the Columbus-Amsterdam bid.
Thank you so much, Linda. And thank you for having this conversation. Pasquale, thank you for your comments. I did come into this late and I'm sorry for that. It's been a long week already. We have a number of operations up here north of 96th Street. We've had them for decades out on the street, but now we have smoke shops. Last night, there was at least one, if not two, operating a party until after 2 a.m. And I don't know if that's going to be something in your purview, or if that's going to be something that I'm going to work with the police on. We already have residents that are complaining of noise at 2 p.m. when I have a sound permit. So last night, I have not heard what the response has been at the police station, but I am curious how you would like us to start dealing with this. I would much prefer to have local people operating it, as you've already indicated, but I don't know how that is going to happen either. So I would love to be in further contact with you down the road.
Okay. Yeah, we sent, I sent the slide deck to Max. So he will have it, and both my email and Phil's email is on the last slide. And so that's how you can get in touch with us.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think this was so informative, and I know you to the very beginning of everything. We really appreciate your time, and we really appreciate your coming to us. So thank you.
It's totally our pleasure. But here's the thing. I'm a former adjunct professor, so I love to give homework. So you all have some homework. First and foremost, if you see gifting happen, email the enforcement email, please, 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 please. Second, when the regs come out, it's really important that stakeholders, this is your opportunity. So Steve, this is your opportunity, right? When the regs come out, please take a look at it, either as a community board or block associations or business, the bid, take a look at it and really, read it. And if you have comments, make the comments. That's what that process is for. It's a 60-day comment period. And so, if we don't hear from you, that means you think we got it right the first time and we're awesome, and we'll take that. But please know, if you don't comment, you can't complain either. So I expect to see comments coming out of your area. Okay?
Thank you again.
I do not doubt your awesomeness, Pascal.
Pascal, at our pre-meeting, my understanding is that when the regs come out, you're going to email them directly to Max, our district manager.
Yep.
He's on. Okay, we'll look for it.
And then we can disseminate them throughout the community.
Yeah, we can post them on the website.
Yeah. So we're going to move on. We have one more presentation tonight, and then most of the people here from the community are going to be responding to that presentation from the Columbus Avenue Business Improvement District. Pascal and Phil, you are welcome to stay. And thank you for being us again. Let's a big hand.
Thank you.
OCM. I still want to be on your board of directors.
Okay. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night. Thank you. Okay, we're going to cede the floor to the Executive Director of the Columbus Avenue Business Improvement District, Nicole Painter. By way of disclosure, I am the former communications consultant from 1999 to 2019 to the Columbus Avenue Business Improvement District. I've worked with Steve on some projects, and no longer, but I am writing a press release about it. Moving forward, this is not about a resolution. This is about a program that is authorized by the city. The floor is yours, Nicole. Do you have a presentation? Do you need us to make you a host?
Yes, please. No. Thank you.
No, she already can share. She doesn't need to be a host. Yeah.
Okay, so just get ready to share, and then we will comment after that.
Okay. 1 second. I have a new computer. I'm just authorizing it. I'm sorry. Oh. Kyle, do you want to give a little intro to the Open Streets program as I open up my Zoom?
Sure, I'd be happy to do so. Hello.
Actually, I'm sorry for interrupting. Before you continue, Mr. Kilgariff, are you from APQ Metro? Yeah, let me, yeah, you can speak, you can unmute and speak now.
Hi, yes, I am here representing Lieutenant Quotidian.
Okay, so what happens is I didn't have your name, so when it came time for disclosing the application, we asked around, no one raised their hand that they were part of the restaurant, and we disapproved the application with a prejudice because as a no-show.
I didn't. I definitely was here for that entire time. I did not understand or hear what was going on during that time. I've been, in the meeting. I'm actually,
Yes.
from the beginning.
Okay, why don't, oh,
Yeah, Nicole, I'm sorry. Before you continue, Mr. Kicker, why don't you talk briefly about your restaurant, and we'll take a vote on that application.
right, let's do that.
Sure.
All right,
thank you
which,
so much.
just so I know, which is the address?
It's for
Central Park.
2 West 69th Street. It's number
But it's
3.
inside of Central Park, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Yep, next to Sheep's Meadow at it's called Mineral Springs by the public bathrooms there in that building. Thank you so much. I apologize for missing the opportunity before. We're very excited to be back in business in the park, serving the community. I'm basically, as we went through the pandemic, we had changed over ownership through the bankruptcy, which has us coming before you today as a new license. This is operated by the same operators, essentially myself and others that had run the establishment previously, with some upgrades to our team. But as far as the operation, it's pretty much identical right now as the previous operation. We do have plans for renovation. I believe that'll be coming in about another year, but no changes. The operation will be open from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And, thank you for your consideration. It's for 69, 2 West 69th Street.
But it's in the park on the Sheep's Head. We had approved this for Lieutenant Quotidian 4 years ago, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so you're really operating in the same way.
Absolutely. Yep.
It proved to be a wonderful amenity for our community.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions from the public? Any committee member? Any committee members?
Okay, so let's take a vote on the application. All those in favor, committee members?
Okay.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm 6. Paul?
Paul.
And Paul is 7, so that is from committee members, that is 7000. And non-committee members, let me look with those hands first. Okay, non-committee members. And that is 2000. The application passes.
Thank you, Mr. Calgara.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your patience.
May I just get a email address, please?
Sure. Would you like me for me?
Yes, please, Ryan.
Yep. It's Ryan.Kilgariff. Would you like me to spell this all out?
Nope, I have the spelling.
Okay. At lepenquotidienne.us.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great evening.
Have a great evening. Okay, let's go back to the presentation and then we will engage the community. And so, Nicole, you're on.
Figured out my screen. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm happy to see a lot of community members here and looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the program. I'm just going to share a quick presentation and I'll go as quickly as I can so that we have time to chat and everyone can get some of their night back. Okay. And I think you can see that. So we are talking about the Open Streets program on Columbus Avenue from 68th Street to 77th Street. So I'm going to do a quick sort of summary of how it went last year to lead into what we're thinking for this year and why we are deciding to bring the program back. Last fall, Open Streets transformed Columbus Avenue by adding much needed space for businesses, customers, and residents. Our goal last year was to help our local businesses in their ongoing recovery from the pandemic, as well as to create an inviting and exciting community space for local residents. We did our Open Streets Sundays from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. on, as I mentioned, Columbus Avenue from 68th to 77th Street. Just a quick overview of the numbers. We did 11 Sundays. We had planned on 12, but one got rained out. We had 10 staff there to create a safe, fun, and engaging environment. We hosted over 200 hours dedicated to programming. We had over 50 individual events and over 30 programming partners, such as musicians, dance groups, etc., and hosted 15 different types of events among those 50 events. Here's a quick picture of one of our more popular programming events was through Street Lab, which is a not-for-profit that organizes different activities for kids. So here was our obstacle course and chalk on one of our early Sundays. And it was really important to us to gather metrics about how the program was working. So we gathered 3 different types. We did pedestrian counts every Sunday. 6 performed each day at 3 different locations. So in total, we did over 100 pedestrian counts, and we were able to extrapolate that over 30,000 people passed through our open streets. We also did public outreach surveys on the streets and on our website, and business outreach surveys to see how the program worked for our businesses. So overall, it was embraced by the public. We did 130 public outreach surveys that were collected, as I mentioned, on the streets and through our website. Over 93% of respondents wanted to see the open streets on Columbus Avenue again, and 7% of respondents didn't enjoy the program and wanted to see changes or not to see it back again. So we did listen to that feedback as well. Here's just a few fun pictures, as well as some quotes by people. One person commented on a West Side Rag article that they thought it was going to be a pain, but they were wrong in their opinion. Open Streets was fantastic, such a great add to the neighborhood. We loved it. It was a wonderful way to feel a part of our community. Bring it back, please. And that sort of goes in line with this picture on the bottom right. That's a group of Upper West Siders that decided to use the space for their own ideas, and they hosted a baby shower for their friends there without sort of any input by us. That's what we want. We want people to utilize the space. So that we love that happening on the open streets. It was also embraced by our businesses. We had all different types of businesses participating, such as on the left, Katie Collection did a sidewalk sale, Asset set up extra seating in the street, and the New York City Barbershop Museum brought in their mobile barbershop and gave haircuts and different events at that spot as well. So I just want to go back. Last year, the program was very successful, and we've decided to bring the program back to further help our local businesses that are still struggling in the recovery of the COVID-19 pandemic. Many of them lost a lot of anticipated business with the Omicron variant at Christmas time, and it's just still a long road to recovery and really sort of unknown ahead of us as well. But our goal is still to create an inviting and exciting community space for our local residents and other New Yorkers as well. That goes hand in hand with our desire to help our businesses. So although the application for our plan for this year has been approved by DOT, we're starting here. There's plenty of time before the program begins to really gain insight from the community to what changes they want to see or additions to make it safer. There is time, and we're open to making adjustments. So I want that to be really clear. As of now, our plan is to do every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., beginning May 15th and going through October 30th. And we plan to do the same streets, 68th through 77th streets. But we are making quite a few changes based on the data we collected, as well as the feedback from people in the community, many of which are on this call today. So we've shortened the hours quite a bit. In 2021, we did 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Based on our data and feedback, we didn't need to be open that late. So we are only going till 7 p.m. and we're starting an hour later to alleviate some noise, morning traffic sort of thing. So 11 to 7, so that's 3 hours shorter. In response to traffic and noise situation above 77th Street, above our open streets, we've already worked with DOT to secure, I think it's called VMS signage, so the digital signage that will stay on the street somewhere around 86th Street, but we can work out the logistics specifically to basically warn drivers of what's coming. Last year, that was a missed opportunity and a mistake, that we needed to do a much better job of letting people know that the closure was coming and to start choosing different routes, etc. We are also going to have a traffic guard to direct drivers. Sorry, my light in my office went off. To direct drivers and to help alleviate honking by having that sort of more official presence. And sort of on this note, we're open to other ideas or suggestions of how to further address the situation of the noise and the traffic. So this isn't the only thing we're adding. We're open to your expertise as well. In terms of community outreach, we're going to do a better job of really notifying the community of what's coming. We are working on sending out a mass mailer, which will be a postcard to everyone in 10023 and 10024 to give them notice of what's coming, to let them know about the parking regulations, also to update them about the bus rerouting, and just let them know what's coming. On that note, we did have MTA signage and our own signage for the bus rerouting, but it wasn't adequate. And we did get that feedback, and that was a mistake as well. So this year we will have a much stronger system and process for making sure that we have large adequate signage, not just saying the bus won't be here, but also where it will be rerouted. And it will be a stop on our staff members sort of rounds, that they make sure no one's at the bus stop. They'll even loop up to above the open streets to just make sure no one's waiting at a bus stop. And then one of the things we're most excited about is enhanced programming and business participation. We've brought on a part-time staff member to really focus on guiding our businesses on how to better utilize the space and how to get involved in new and creative ways and really take advantage of the open space. And we're going to do a lot more programming. We have big plans to bring out more programming for a diverse group of people. We'll do acoustic music. We're going to stick to a pretty strict rule of no amplification to make sure we're not disturbing the local residents. We are going to bring out a lot of kids programming as we had last year, but also introduce things that adults might like, be it architecture walks or drawing classes. And we're also going to, not that this space wasn't open last year, but really try to push the idea and the opportunity that the space is for everyone. So if local organizations such as a block association or One Block Upper West Side want a table and get the word out about their organization, we'll have a form on the website where they can just let us know that they want to come. We'll help coordinate, we'll get them a table, things like that. We want the space to be used by the community and useful for others as well. So that's really it. That's a really speedy overview. And I know people will have questions and concerns, but we're really looking forward to bringing the program back, making it better, addressing issues that we saw the first time. It was the first time we did it. And so obviously things can always be better and get better. So we acknowledge that as well. But yeah, that's
Thank you very much. Is Colleen still here with us? Colleen Chattergoon, is she still with us? No.
Yes, I'm still here. Good evening.
Hi. Did you want to add anything about DOT's participation?
You know what? I will have Kyle Gorman talk about that because he's spearheading the open street.
Thank you, Colleen. Hello, everybody. Nice to be here tonight. My name is Kyle. I manage our Open Streets program here in New York City. So I work with both Nicole and Peter on Open Streets and many other partners across the city. We are super excited to see these open streets return to the Upper West Side. We are, as Nicole said, have approved these applications, but are eager to hear any feedback and any tweaks that people would like to see as a part of the program. I think Nicole really just laid out a really excellent vision for the future of this program and a lot of really amazing changes and evolution, which is basically on theme for how we are trying to build this program. So yeah, eager to hear anybody's comments, questions, or feedback. Thank you.
Great. Anybody from the committee who would like to, or from the community board who would like to speak?
Yeah, please raise your hand to be recognized. Andrew, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say I love the program. I mean, one of the best things I think last year was just getting out and walking around and seeing people and seeing businesses out. And I think it really created a very nice sense of community, and I'm thrilled that it's coming back. I'm happy to hear that some of the concerns, particularly from some of the residents that live right immediately in the area, are being addressed. And these things I know are a work in progress, but I'm just really happy that the bid's doing it again. Wishing you all the best, and looking forward to it.
Okay. I'm going to read something. I guess I'm first. This is from the co-chair of our Parks Department, of our Parks Committee, who could not be here tonight. I promised to read it into the record. I'll read some of it. Andrew, I'll send it to you so you can put it in the record. She is not a proponent. I am, by the way, obviously, but this is from Natasha. I'm writing to register my protest against the possibility of open streets on Columbus Avenue starting at 77th Street for part of this year. This is based on the terrible experience from last year, 2021. Given that the Sunday Green Market is located in this immediate area, it became problematic for farmers to park when they arrived in the mornings and to leave in the evenings while safely maneuvering their vehicles. The intersection of 77th Columbus was particularly noisy and dangerous for everyone. The increased traffic on West 79th Street of cars, buses, and trucks due to rerouting was simply chaotic, unsafe, and very loud. And it goes on in that direction. So that will be in, I'll send that to Andrew, and we'll put that into our minutes, but that was the gist of her thing. I think a lot of this is going to be resolved this year as we get to know what we're doing better, but that's my personal opinion. And so let's start calling people. Christian, you want to take?
Yes, let's recognize Tal Shore. You have to mute yourself. We see that you're unmuted, but we're not hearing any voice. Okay, so let's move on to Peter Anderson, and Tal Shore, if you can fix your technical difficulties, you can raise your hand again.
Thank you, Christian, and good to see you all. This sounds like you've done a tremendous job, Nicole, and I am going to be very interested to follow how it's going. The idea of having a person to control traffic, I wish you luck on that, and I'll be really curious to hear how it goes. Have you had any problems with the street ATV gangs or groups, whatever?
Not during the program. We had one night. They were more just like a group of teenagers on bikes, and that was a little scary, but we haven't had ATVs at all.
Great. Okay, good. Well, I'll be curious to follow it, and it just looks like you've done a tremendous job. So thank you.
Thank you.
I don't see any of your hands, but here I'm going to recommend, let's hear from Steve Anderson and then Dale Brown, because I know you have concerns and you probably have ideas on how to make this work as well. So
if Dale could start, I think she's probably a good community person to offer some of the issues.
Great job. Dale and I worked together but at the beginning of the pandemic,
Thank you. I'm Dale Brown, and I'm president of the West 79th Street Block Association, and we oppose the Columbus Avenue bid of open streets from 77th to 68th Street because of very dangerous conditions for pedestrians and the motorists. We had tremendous amount of traffic, bumper to bumper, not just on Columbus Avenue, but on 79th Street, going to the east side and the west side. Columbus Avenue is a designated truck route, 24/7. 79th Street is a designated evacuation route, 24/7. Cars that were on Columbus Avenue and also on West 79th Street were not paying any attention to the traffic light at 79th and Columbus and 78th Street in Columbus. People were trying to back up. Horns were going all the time. People were not staying in lanes. There was a lot of noise, people yelling out of the windows. At the bus stop, 78th Street and 77th Street, there was no signage telling people that the bus was not going to stop and where to actually find the bus. On West 79th Street, we had traffic backed up in both directions. And because the Columbus Avenue was closed from 77th to 68th Street, we had trucks. We had garbage trucks, delivery trucks, and construction trucks going down our block. We also had the number 7 and 11 buses going west in addition to the crosstown bus. There was a tremendous amount of noise and car honking. Pedestrians had a very, very difficult and dangerous time, not only crossing Columbus Avenue to the east side of the street, but just crossing 79th Street on both sides of the street. I want to point out that we have 3 construction sites on the east end of West 79th Street. Number 117 and number 101 is a construction site on the north side of the street, and they have 1 lane that is blocked off going to the west side. They also have cars parked and sometimes double parked on Sundays, making the traffic even more difficult in that particular area. The Gilda Center, of course, operates. Now, these 3 sites operate 5 times a week, and there's a tremendous amount of noise. The Gilda Center is now operating on Saturdays, which creates more noise. And if the open street happens, that's additional noise, which means that the residents of West 79th Street will have no peace and quiet for 5 months. And I find that very, very appalling. We are very concerned that we have never had any input into this particular situation. The pedestrian traffic and also the garbage that goes along with it has been a result of us having to hire professional people to come and clean the sidewalks. We have tremendous concern about this bumper and bumper traffic and the tremendous amount of noise on West 79th Street. It's just not Columbus Avenue. And as Nicole pointed out, they did not have anybody directing traffic. And supposedly you're going to have someone there for 8 hours every Sunday this coming time. I do want to point out that at the bus stop, there were cars that were parked in that bus stop on Columbus between 77th and 78th Street, and other cars that were double parked there, which created even more of a traffic jam. I was out there between 5 and 6 hours over 7 different days watching the traffic. People were trying to back up on Columbus. They were trying to back up so they could go back to 79th Street and get out of that mess, which of course was a very dangerous situation. And we are very concerned about the green market, the noise, and the fact that they had a tremendous amount of trouble parking and trying to leave the site in the evening due to all this tremendous traffic. You know, the green market goes to 77th Street, and there's a big issue there. 77th Street that goes west is a 1-lane street, and it has playgrounds. There's problems with the kids. So we have a tremendous amount of concern, and our block association is very much against this. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on these particular issues.
Thank you, Dale.
Thank you, Dale.
You don't want to, I'm hoping that there's a way to address these issues. Kyle, this is, only the second year of this program, and hopefully a lot of the kinks have been worked. I mean, we've had many complaints over the years about the street fairs because of these similar issues too, but they're not every week. This is going to be every Sunday. Some of the street fairs were on Saturdays, some were on Sundays. This is a different kind of dynamic, but it is only on Sundays. Kyle and Nicole, and Colleen, are there ways to resolve an issue?
Actually, before we get into any comments about that, I would like to hear from Steve first, and then they can address those comments directly. Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks very much. My concern is also about the process here. And I think we missed a big part of this process. And that's really what I've been trying since I heard about this presentation, and since I came to better understand that DOT has already approved this plan. What was missing is a meeting and a conversation where the people who are participants in this project and the residents and the representatives of those residents, like block associations, get together and share concerns and discuss the issues. And maybe 77th, in fact, isn't the best spot. Maybe it ought to be 76th, okay, to do that. When I hear someone saying we're going to have someone direct traffic, someone, one person, we know that doesn't work. Why isn't Captain Zuber, who is our partner from the NYPD 20th Precinct, we need his input here, okay? What was missing is a discussion with the community about how this is going to happen and to hear ideas. The way it was presented to us, DOT approved it, and the community board doesn't have to do anything other than listen to the presentation and comment, but it doesn't have any authority. What I am arguing for is let's sit down, let's have a meeting with all of the players and figure out maybe there's some changes, maybe there's some ways to improve this, and not to simply make it feel like it's as the expression goes, a done deal, okay? And I don't think that's unreasonable. In fact, I think the DOT, as I mentioned to the Manhattan Commissioner and to Colleen earlier today, I think you should have demanded it. In fact, you should have taken the lead and with the community board and saying, okay, let's get together all the people who've expressed concerns about this and who represent the community. Let's see if the community boards impacted on these streets have ideas that they want to share, and let's figure out ways to collaboratively go forward. Of course, we want a vibrant retail community. Of course, we're in favor of trying to support the merchants that we want to see alive after this pandemic experience. This is not to criticize the retailers or the property owners, the commercial property owners, but we want to be partners in what happens in our community. And to cut us out isn't right. And to rubber stamp it, telling a community, DOT's already approved it, and the community board's role is just to listen and comment on the presentation, seems inadequate to me. And therefore, to ask that we have an assurance of a meeting where we discuss every detail and it's on the table, and that the bid and everyone else figure out a time very soon to chart the way forward.
Well, thank you, Steve.
Thank
you, Kristen.
Yeah. So Nicole, and Kyle and Colleen, do you have any comments?
Kick us off. Just to first maybe address some of the process and the community outreach side of things. So we did notify the community board about this particular application for the Columbus-Ave Open Street about a month ago. And really for us, that was the formal kickoff to the conversation around different types of feedback and ideas that anyone might have in order to sort of maybe express their complete dissatisfaction with the open street and not wanting to see it all, or as even you're proposing, making some tweaks and suggestions along the way. That all being said, we have been building the plane as we fly, very much so. I've been managing this program since day one, and it really definitely needs to as you're sort of suggesting, work itself into all the different types of operations that make our city run and make our communities vibrant and tied together. And, you know, being more inclusive and listening to all different types of voices as we develop these particular open streets. So definitely hear you on engagement and starting from the onset, from the get-go. I think we can always do better on that particular front. I will talk to Colleen as well as Ed at the Borough Commissioner's office about, you know, potentially convening this meeting. But, you know, we are still going to move forward with this particular open street application. This is a returning site in 2022. But we look forward to working with each and every one of you on sort of continuing to evolve the program. Nicole did mention a lot of great operational features that she's been working on behind the scenes, honestly. And Nicole and the bid and Kristen also from the bid, I should give a shout out to, are really some of our strongest partners and have really come to the table with a lot of great ideas between, you know, different types of signage, securing necessary personnel to make sure that things are done safely, and really taking into consideration people's feedback about noise, the times of the closure, and all the different things that were laid out in the presentation earlier today. So, you know, I do want to say that there have been some significant concessions made as we continue to evolve this particular open street. That last item that I want to say, really in terms of, you know, the best and safest way to do this is to really evolve our infrastructure to reflect the different types of public space amenities and bike and pedestrian infrastructure that we really want to see. This New York City Streets Plan, which was released just a few months ago, really gives some pretty bold recommendations for the city to commit to in terms of making the city a much more bike and pedestrian oriented and public transit oriented type of city, as we already are, and as is the case in the Upper West Side especially. So, you know, in the long term, we'd love to see our streetscape really reflect the ability to easily do these different types of open streets and have more public spaces and things like that. So that's definitely a part of the long term part of the program.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank
Colleen,
you, Kyle, for agreeing to.
I'm sorry, Steve,
one
Steve,
more.
we're not going back and forth. I'm going to call on Colleen next, then we will talk.
Kyle, would you finish?
I was just going to say, I'd love for Colleen to also jump in because she has her hand raised.
Hi. Hi. First of all, thank you so much for having us this evening to discuss the Open Street program. Like many open streets that we've launched, we worked with, you know, all of the stakeholders, the community board and residents to make it a very successful program. We are willing to work with you, Steve Anderson and Dale Brown, who I know very well, who calls me very often, to make sure that this particular street is successful, you know, with the segments. And I want to say that the bid has been doing a really great job in managing the open street for DOT. And we work very closely with the bid and with residents and other stakeholders. So we will continue to work with Steve, the community board, and Dale to make sure that all of the concerns that you've addressed, that you know, we take steps to make improvements on them. Okay.
Thank you, Colleen. I think we're going to go next to Mark.
Actually, before we do that, Colleen and Kyle, Kyle, particularly you mentioned that you're going to find out whether a social meeting can be arranged. So how do we follow up in finding out whether that happens or not?
Colleen will be able to share those details with you.
Okay.
Yes,
thank you.
We'll coordinate that with the committee.
You could coordinate with the committee and with Nicole and with the Dale and Steve and just let us know and we'll be there. We'll make sure somebody from the board is there.
Most definitely.
Thank you so much. I know this meeting's going on a little longer than anticipated. We'll Mark and then Tal Shore.
Thanks. A lot of what I wanted to say has already been said. So in the spirit of adding without repeating, I share some of the concerns about process and I share concerns about the impact on the block. Full disclosure, I live on 79th Street, but I express similar concerns with respect to other open streets, depending on how they work out and whether they are throughputs. A couple of things that I think ought to be added to the conversation when we think about whether or not the right streets are included in this permit is that in addition to the green market, the farmer's market on 77th Street, there's also the green flea, or whatever they call it now, which is the
Grand
which is
Bazaar.
the one in the O'Shea complex lot.
Right, the Grand
and
Bazaar.
Bazaar, thank you very much. And those trucks can't go out the door that is on 77th Street. So they need the side streets and so forth, which raises the issue about deliveries to the local businesses that we're here trying to support. In the interest of time, I'll yield. One final thought that does occur, though, is that while I understand the need for programming to create the foot traffic that we hope will eventually patronize the local businesses, my hope for any of these local for these open streets is to support the local businesses and not to import businesses from elsewhere. I think we all have some frustration with the street fairs that bring in, the people who have a right to make a living, but it's not supporting local businesses. And given the disruptions and concerns, especially when you're rerouting two buses, on the impact on transit that we also want to support, I think it's important that we focus whatever efforts we have in terms of those compromises on supporting the actual businesses that line the blocks and not others outside who are not our responsibility. I'll stop there, but thank you.
I think Nicole can respond, but I can tell you right now in the plan, it's the only participants allowed will be the local stores on that block specifically, not stores from other blocks, but specifically on the blocks on Columbus Avenue. I think that was it, because I'm working on the press release. So that's one. And I think that, and also deliveries on Sunday, we won't have to worry about deliveries on Sunday to the local retails on Columbus Avenue.
Touch short. It will appear that Tal is still having technical difficulties.
Oh, what's happening?
Okay, I'm gonna move on to Roberta then momentarily. Roberta, go ahead.
So on the open streets, it's local merchants. And on street fairs, years ago, the community board put in a, that local merchants has the right, local restaurants, local merchants have the right to have a space in front of where their location is before anybody else gets a spot. So, that was done in the 1990s when several businesses were very upset because they didn't have the spot. So part of the legislation is that if you have a store or a restaurant, you have first dibs on the spot in front of where you are.
Thank you, Roberta. Christian, who's next?
Yes, Peter.
On that note, I will say that Morton Ray, who are one of the street fair or the main street fair operators, were very good. I have not had that experience with some of the other operators where they, local businesses do not necessarily get notification or consideration as much as possible. And I would be very concerned about any of the street fairs that are happening this year, because Morton Ray is no longer handling them. So just to be aware of that.
You should send an email to the board and we can follow up on that. We can have a resolution on that. I think BCI should have a resolution to deal with that.
Peter,
Okay.
Mort, just an FYI, Mort Berkowitz merged with the other one. Yeah.
Okay.
And so he's still there.
Good. I appreciate hearing that. I had not realized that. I will say that DOT has done a tremendous job up in our neighborhood with working with us under difficult circumstances. And we had a good relationship with the 24th precinct and tried to head off problems or discover problems on days where things were happening. And I just have to be really positive about DOT's work this past year to keep businesses alive. It has been a huge impact up in our neighborhood. I realize I'm not speaking to the issues that Dale and Steve have brought to the lower part of the district. But I would be remiss if I did not state just how much of an impact these open streets have had for businesses, and how good a partner DOT has been in working out some of the details and problems. So thanks.
Thank you, Peter. We're going to try Tal Shore again, and then Tal, can you get on? Any chance? Because you've got your hand up, and we'd love to hear from you.
Last chance, Tal. Let's see if you can address the.
Renee.
Okay. Well.
Okay.
Can I?
Okay. Yes, Nicole.
Can I just address a couple of things that came up? I just want to make sure that I clarify a couple of things. Firstly, about the programming, I know it's already been clarified that only businesses they're only allowed to be in front of their storefront if they're in the district. So that's sort of taken care of. But any sort of programming we bring in is in no way conflicting. It's usually not-for-profit arts groups, kids programming. That's a main concern. And we definitely are not bringing in programming that is selling things. We can't sell things that aren't a store. DOT does have an option to add in like I forget the exact term, a vendor overlay, and we're not adding that to ours. So we're very aware of that as a concern, and we share the concern. Dale brought up the extra garbage, and I want to address that I want to work with you if it did create extra garbage. I believe you, and I'll increase our sanitation. We did increase our sanitation by 1. We usually have 2 at all times. We increase it to 3, but if we need to increase it to 4 and really focus there, done. I did speak to Captain Zuber last year, and I will speak to him again, and I commit in general to doing much better job of communication with him, with you, with everyone. So he's definitely on my list, and we did speak last year in advance of the program. And then the last point is about the traffic guard. That was actually a strong recommendation by Councilmember Brewer's office. If that seems like a silly idea, I'm more than happy to put you like it or you don't like it?
I would say that it is a good idea, but there may be concerns as to how it will be implemented.
Yeah, so we will work on that, but definitely ready to put our effort and money behind that as well. So I think those are the only other points I had to clarify.
Okay, now before we wrap this up, I see somebody is here, Edward Amador from Councilmember Brewer's office. Did you want to say something, sir? You're muted. Okay.
Okay, so before we conclude, I just have a couple of comments. I'd like to thank Dale and Steve for clearly expressing their concerns in a constructive manner. I'd like to endorse what Bart said also about his concerns. And I hope that moving forward, I understand that the Open Streets program evolved during the pandemic as a response to many things. But I think that it's time now to, before we proceed, to involve the community in the application process before approvals are done. So looking forward to see if that happens in the future.
Thank
Linda,
you,
do you have any other words?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And fully, and I think if the ball basically is in Colleen's and Kyle's court and Nicole's court, maybe we could convene with Dale and Steve. And I know Natasha from our community board is also interested. Maybe we could get some dates together and set up another Zoom call and have it, really discuss this in a really granular way so that we can make the open streets work well for everyone.
So there are other community boards also. There are other block associations that are, within those areas that might want to participate.
I have reached out to every block association. So if we have a meeting, I'm happy to, well, I'm sure you will as well, but I'm happy to invite them. So
I think that's an excellent idea. And Nicole, I'll reach out to you and we will look at the list and we can have a Zoom meeting with everyone.
And I'll cross-reference with Steve and Dale to make sure I have everyone that should be consulted.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you for your time and have a good evening.
You too, thank you.
And Colleen, it was great to see you. Big hug. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.